Are we okay?
That's great.
Should I continue, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. The paradigm cycle. It's important that we all understand the paradigm cycle before we start talking about maintenance and reliability and trying to talk about operational excellence. Paradigm is what we believe. We all believe inside our hearts. And that belief came because of our training, our environment, our surrounding, our culture. So we believe certain things. That's our paradigm. And that paradigm lead us towards behavior, how we behave because of that belief. And you can see we have our own beliefs, we have our own paradigm. That's why there's a cultural difference. You can see the difference between Asians and the Western world because of the paradigm. Last, not the least, is the results. At the end of the day, we all expect results because an activity without a result would be considered a waste of time and efforts. Right, I'm going to share a quick example of few scientists who done an experiment on the monkeys so that everybody will be more familiar with the paradigm, how the paradigm is formed. A group of scientists placed 5 monkeys in the room, and in the middle of the ladder there was bananas. So bananas, we all know they are very temptational to the monkeys. So they all wanted to grab bananas. They wanted to climb on the ladder. What happens? One of the monkeys tried to climb on the ladder. The shower of cold water gets started on the other 4 monkeys. So the monkey realized that something is going wrong. So what they did, they start beating the monkey which was trying to climb on the ladder. Now the next one came in. After some time, no monkey dared to go up to the ladder, and regardless of the temptational thing of bananas, which is on the top of the ladder. What happens? The scientists decided to substitute one of the monkeys. So a new one came into the group, and the first thing the new monkey did was to go up to the ladder. Immediately, the other monkeys started to beat him down. After several beating, the new member learned that not to climb on the ladder, even though they didn't know why. But they knew because the rest of the monkeys had beaten him up. The second monkey walk was substituted, and the third one, and the fourth one, and the fifth one. So the whole group was replaced. And when it was the 5 monkeys they were replaced, they never received even though a cold shower, but they continued to beat up any other monkey who attempted to climb the ladders, because they started to believe the moment they start doing things climbing on the ladder, they will get punished. They don't know what they were always been doing, but they know one thing, that they always have, the things have been always done around there. And they start believing things because their colleagues, their fellows, they told them, do not try to attempt the bananas because you will get a punishment. So what happens is they started to believe this thing without asking any questions. So this is our paradigm. So this is how we started our beliefs, and those beliefs will lead us to our behaviors, and the behaviors will lead us to the result. So if we wanted to have different result, we must do things differently. If we continue to do things in the same old fashion and expecting different results, I'm afraid we won't be able to get those results as desired. So it's important that we must shift paradigm. And one of the effort to shift the paradigm is today's presentation, is to ensure that we do have a clear definitions, clear understanding, and we all are on the same page to understand about maintenance reliability, and which will lead us to operational excellence. Now let's talk about few of the terminologies. Maintenance. A lot of people think that the maintenance is an act doing by few technicians, few mechanics. They will walk to the defective machine and they will go and replace it. But the smartness is it's an act of maintaining it, an act of prevention of failure, ensuring physical assets continue to do what operation want them to do. Every asset has a purpose, has an importance, has a criticality. We'll talk about later other webinar session what criticality means like, but maintainability is usually measured MTTR, which is standing for mean time to repair. How long would it take to put the machine back online? And it is known as MTTR, which is mean time to repair. The shorter it is, the more beneficial it is because your machine downtime or your asset downtime should be less. Reliability, that's the important part. A lot of people are talking about reliability, but one important aspect of the reliability is it is the ability of a system or component to perform its required function under stated conditions for a specific period of time. I'm going to underline the word stated conditions. Things are designed, equipment is designed, assets are designed to work under stated condition. I'll give you one quick example of my watch. My watch is, for example, it's not a waterproof watch. It is doing fine. It has been providing me service from the last 20 years. All I have to change its battery, but it's not a waterproof watch. So the moment I would put it under the water, I'm changing its condition. It's not designed to work under the water. So it will not be reliable anymore. So the ability of a system of a component to perform its required function under stated condition is known as reliability for a specific period of time. That means nothing is designed forever. You have to maintain it. You need to eliminate all those defects, and you should have a control over the machine so ensure you're smarter than the machine behavior. Excuse me. It is usually measured as MTBF, mean time between failure. This is a units of measure to measure the reliability. Reliability centered maintenance, I'm sure a lot of people knows about that. It's a process used to determine the maintenance requirement. I would call maintenance strategy for any physical assets in operating context. How to maintain it, when to maintain it, and what to maintain it. This is the three important parts. How to maintain is, what to maintain it, and when to maintain it. So that's the reliability central maintenance approach. Quick graphical figure explaining more about MTBF, MTTR, and MTBR. That's another way of looking things. MTTR, you can see is equipment failure on your screen. Equipment started to fail, and then equipment was put back online after repairing. So that interval is MTBF. If you look at the starting of the green part to the next green part, MTBF on the bottom of the screen, you can see MTBF, and MTTR is an equipment failure. How long would it take me to put the machine back online? How long would it took me to put the machine after repair and handing over to the operations back? MTBR is something called mean time between repairs. But mainly we talk about two major KPIs, which is MTTR and MTBF. Maintainability is measured through MTTR and reliability is measured through MTBF. Guys, am I clear so far? आप लोगों को समझ आ रही है? You can understand me? Or any questions? Everybody's Jawad Saab, are you comfortable enough?
Sir, it is very clear here. We are very comfortable with the screen you share and with the audio quality. And I can also see the comments from participants. Razaul Muspa is saying that yes, he is able to understand. Yes, sir, it's very good for with all of the people.
Because I don't want to keep on talking to my own screen. Like, I want to make sure that the audience are still awake. Like, okay.
No, it looks like all are awake. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. That's a good. I mean, I try to bring a flavor of monkeys, like to make sure that everybody understand. Do not follow the other fellow. Let's think out of the box.
That's
all right. Now that this curve is very, very important. This is a basic concept of reliability, and this is called potential and the actual failure. P&F curve. You have a potential failure. Now we talk about reliability. When I was talking to you guys about reliability definition, it says in the stated condition for a specific time. So that tells us nothing is designed forever. So what we should do, we look at the conditions at that machine, that asset, try to do an early detection of a problem so we can take the corrective action in a timely manner. What happens here on the curve, if you can see the failure starts here, if you can see my mouse, and then it started to potential failure where it has a potential failure, the failure hasn't been started, and then it will lead us as the time goes by, it will lead us to today's definition of failure. What is today's definition of failure? Equipment is not performing intended function or functionally failed. Good example, a centrifugal pump was designed to pump 700 GPM and then it started to pump 500 GPM. So it's not functionally, it's not completely failed as the older definition says, but it's not doing its design function. The pump is designed to deliver 700 GPM. Now it is delivering about 500 GPM. So something went wrong. We want to investigate, we want to correct it before it goes completely failed. So that is called P&F curve, and basically it decides the interval for your condition-based maintenance or your preventive maintenance. Quick definition of maintenance strategies. I'm sure everybody understands. You have to have a strategy. Reactive maintenance, repair equipment as problems reported, run to fail. I'm not going to do anything to my asset. I have bought a brand new car. I'm going to run it till it fails. When it fails, I'm going to take it to the workshop, get it fixed, whatever it takes, the time or the money, I'm going to fix it. This is a way of a maintenance strategy. And the cost from the wrong corners, you really want to look at scientifically, and then you come up with optimization. Now you can see run to failure, preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, and precision maintenance. You can hear the graph is showing something, maintenance cost per horsepower of the machine. And you can see here a big bar showing you a high cost. And if you use a preventive maintenance, you can cut down the cost. And if you use a predictive, which is condition-based maintenance strategy, you can always cut down to half or less than half. And once you got the lesson learned from your predictive maintenance, you got more smarter with your data. The underlying word is data, then you move towards precision maintenance. If you don't have a data, you won't be able to make the right decisions. Jawad, am I okay? Are you listening to me? Am I getting you there? I'm interrupting to make sure that I'm still connected to you guys.
You are connected, and I believe you can see the list of participants on your top panel as well. I can see all participants are present and they are actually listening to the presentation.
Yeah. And please pass this message from my side that if you do have any questions, they may write down a question, they may refer a slide number or the topic on the top of it to ensure that, we will come back because we owe an answer to the people who are listening to this presentation.
Sure, sir.
Because we don't want to have a one-way communication. We want people to have a common understanding. The intent of all this exercise is to ensure that we build up a common understanding among our colleagues, among the people who are listening, among our peers. Okay.
That's correct. I will tell everyone once again. मैं आप सबसे दरख्वास्त करता हूँ जितने भी participants हैं. If you have any question regarding any slide कुछ आपको समझ नहीं आया, you can write down it on the chat panel. So everyone, I request you once again, अगर आपने कुछ पूछना है और कोई slide miss हो गई है and you want to ask a question, आप इसको chat panel पे लिख दें. And at any time you feel that there is a problem with voice or you are not able to see the presentation properly, let us know so we can remove any problem there. Thank you very much. Up to you, Wahid Saab, once again.
Thank you very much, Jawad Saab. One quick thing I would like to probably announce through your support and cooperation, that we must have it, and I'll help you out to design a quick feedback form. We really want to appreciate everyone's feedback, how they felt about the presentation, how were the topic, what was the most interesting topic they had it, what they would like to see more in future in the webinar, so we can have a continuous improvement cycle on this exercise. So we
That
definitely design a feedback form and request you guys the feedback. Right, let me next. Okay, we talk about the cost comparison. I'm sorry, I was just jumping to the new slide. Maintenance reliability key process. It's a big process. We do have 5 pillars. We have multiple elements. But today we'll talk about planning and scheduling. We are not going to talk about leadership and organization, root cause analysis plan, skills development, or we are not going to talk about preventive maintenance. We're only going to talk about planning and scheduling, and which has got work request, a work notification. Somebody or the operations of the people who are the asset owner should have the work request and prioritization, backlog, planning and scheduling is the key subject. Planning elements are standard job plans, and we really want to make sure we develop a plan, we identify all the elements of a plan, and we'll talk about more about the elements of the job plan. Jobs are always planned before they are scheduled, and operations support the planning process. Because operation are the customers, are our partners, we need to make sure that the maintenance organization and the reliability are in line with their expectations. We don't want to pull against the different directions. So it's important that there should be an alignment between operation and maintenance. Because at the end of the day, it's a teamwork, and the intent is to make sure that organization is running or making use of their assets in the most optimal manner. Planning. Quick definitions. I'm sure I'll refer you a book at the end of the presentation also. People can explore more about definitions on planning and scheduling. And planning is the identification of all the resources, including labor, materials. When I say material, it's basically components, support services, and equipment required. Remember, guys, we always talk about something you really want to come up with a plan, because at the end of the day, you want to have a control in your own hands rather than machines are controlling you. Maximizing resources utilization and optimizing their maintenance cost is a result of effective plan. So we'll talk about resources utilization. The most common resource in our organization is the human resources. We want to make sure we utilize those human resources more effectively so that they can produce the desired results. And without any frustration, we don't want to push people too hard where they get frustrated. We really want to make sure it's a planned effort. Everybody knows their roles and responsibility and trying to come up with an act to deliver the results, which is to put back that defective equipment back online. Scheduling, selecting the time and date to perform the work when it is interface the least with operation while making the best use of maintenance resources. Now, in the beginning of any job and anything, any maintenance request, unless it, by the way, you do not plan emergencies. If there is an emergency repair, you need to take an action that will bypass the planning cycle. Nothing to be planned. You really want to fix the equipment because your machine is back online and your production has been stopped. So you really want to put it back online. But after the emergency is over, you really want to have a critique meeting, trying to figure out what went wrong, why we have landed to that situation, or we had to run around, and trying to fix those machines without planning and schedule, which is a very expensive way of doing things, gentlemen and ladies, right? Typical cycle in productive maintenance, your market will dictate, mandates the production plan. In order to production plan, you need to put your equipment back online, and you really want to put an equipment strategy. I'm sorry, guys. Now, production plan will mandate a planning and scheduling. What will happen? It's a kind of like a continuous improvement cycle. You plan the job, you execute the job, you record all the repairs, and you analyze and improve it. Because you will have a database which will, obviously every organization should have computerized maintenance management system. If you do not have, then you are just talking to, you're relying on your memories, which could mislead you. Maintenance early detection, which comes from your productive maintenance, proactive maintenance, predictive maintenance, and your technical database of stores, which tells you what are the bill of materials, what are the components available. This is a very high level cycle, gentlemen, and we just wanted to make sure you got a very high level picture of maintenance planning and schedule. We'll talk more about that. Now, I really want to bring up this running around cycle, which happen in traditional maintenance. And our journey starts that it's triggered when a notification or a maintenance request or a work order, whatever your organization is using, starts, and a request is being sent to maintenance organization, come and fix it in equipment because we have a failure. So what happens without planning and scheduling? The mechanic or the person, the technician would run around to get some information, go to the parts, do job access, go to the tools, come back, get some information. So there are a lot of waste involved. Although he's busy or she's busy, but the productivity is not as deemed to be, is not expected, as we really want to optimize the cost. And if we really want to optimize the cost, we really want to make sure things are happening in a very professional manner using planning and scheduling tools. I don't know why we have got on the screen these lines coming in. Jawad Saab, are you there, Jawad Saab?
I'm here. I think it is with the mouse, with the pointer.
I don't know. It doesn't look very good. Anyway, can you guys see the screen right now?
Yes, the screen is clear.
See the screen, this pie chart.
Yes, we can see that from the participant, the chat messages. I can see both color and bright color displayed.
I hope everyone is happy listening to me, not trying to express his feelings through those lines.
It's very good, sir.
Can you see, can you hear me? I'll continue like, just to save time.
No, it's clear. We can hear you, all of us.
And you can see the screen also?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, let's leave the lines on the screen. I can see it. The typical craft time distribution is basically, you can see, I've got 8 hours of work. I cannot be an effective guy if I do not have a plan and a schedule activity. I'll be running around, trying to get myself, show that I'm really busy, but the output may not be as it's been desired. So the lot of organizations in the West, they measure the range time. And range time is actually when you put your hands on the job, when you're really doing an activity. That is called range time. Receiving instruction, operating tools, materials, traveling time, coordination delays, they are all not productive time. They are all out of the range time. You can see you have spent 8 hours, but your actual range time was 35%. Now, if we increase 20% more through better planning and scheduling, the ROI, the return of this investment would be 57% improvement. And if you've got 30 people in the organization who are maintainer of your machines, they can deliver a result of 47 people. So you have added up another 17 people without any extra cost by working smartly rather than doing it reactively, trying to run around, trying to show yourself busy, but the actual outcome is very negligible. Does it make sense?
Yes. I have unmuted all participants so they can speak one by one. Please keep your mic mute at your end and then speak with the presenter.
I've got only 2 slides, and then I will hand over the floor back to you. Okay. You break down the work into small steps to ensure accurately estimates are maintained. And you really want to design a work process. What you want to do, how you want to do, when you want to do it, and how you really want to capture those small steps before you're taking a big step. Planning worksheet, you should have a checklist, you should have an accurate bill of materials. All these information, you should have a standard job plan for the job which you are going to do repeatedly. You don't want to reinvent the wheel, and you should have a proper job safety analysis to ensure safety is not jeopardized. Meaningful equipment repair history. Again, if you have a CMMS data, computerized maintenance management data, in our company in Saudi Aramco, we were using SAP, one of the most expensive tool to utilize it, but there are other CMMS are available which can do your requirement. You must have a CMMS knowledge and a planner competency. People should be competent to deliver the result. It should be a merit-based selection or based on the knowledge and experience. We normally recommend to the organizations, you should have 10 to 12 years of craft experience, excellent communication skills. It's important. I always say, is person who's doing the job, who's trying to get people behind the table should have an excellent communication skill, excellent interpersonal skills, team player, leadership, and self-motivation, assertive personality. I want to make a difference here. You don't have to be submissive. You don't have to be aggressive. You have to be assertive personality midway. Take the ownership to protect the plan. It's important that you take the ownership. You say, this is my plan. I really want to protect the plan. I wanted to make sure that the execution team is quite happy with my plan and should have the other knowledge. Scheduling process is a select workable jobs. You remember, every job is not a workable job. You really want to have components, you really want to have resources. So you want to make sure that the workable jobs are selected with the priority. You discuss with the operations, equipment availability, and you check the availability of maintenance crafts and develop the schedule. So that's the schedule process. And you have to have a weekly scheduling meeting. It's important. It's important. That's why I said in the very beginning, Javasab, that once the people are going to join you in webinar, make sure everybody has a clear understanding what will be their role, how they will be. It's kind of orientation to ensure that everybody is on one page and they will enjoy the session, hopefully. Common pitfall is not clear roles and responsibility. Everyone is doing someone else's job and business processes are not clear. Lack of planners with craft experience. We basically put people behind the computer. They do not have seen the field. Ultimately, they become the clerks. They become the processors rather than planners. Planners are utilized as part expediters and work order processors only. And planners become PM administrator or CMMS trainers because they had the most computerized knowledge. So they, rather than planning the job, they become the teacher, the trainers. Undisciplined weekly scheduled meeting. You have to have a discipline. You want to make sure that there's a time frame. You really want to make sure there's a list of jobs which are ready to execute, which are your workable jobs. And very reactive maintenance culture, which makes planning and scheduling ineffective. One of the example of reactive maintenance, I'm sure you guys have heard about maintenance heroes. We all would like to see an importance in our home organizations. And the only way to make ourselves visible heroes is to do an act of a heroship. Something has broken down, something needs to be fixed. We go and fix it and get recognized. So if your company, your organization has got a good reward and recognition system, then definitely we can get rid of those heroes. And we will move towards proactive maintenance rather than reactive maintenance. We do not want to do a plan and schedule, then plan and schedule, and then we really want to have a good comprehensive plan and then schedule the job. with the timeline. You look at the timeline. There are KPIs, key performance indicators are very, very important tools of any organization, any process. If you do not have KPIs, you cannot measure your process. You really don't know. You are just driving a car with no lights, no headlights in the dark, and you're driving without your destination. So KPI, which is called key performance indicators, are the key things which will drive the organization or the process. Planning effectiveness, actual versus estimate, how long the job will take it, how long it actually took the job. Work order turnaround time, if it is a maintenance order, how long the turnaround time of your normal orders is taking start to finish the job, and the range time. We talked about the range time, which is actual hands-on work. Takeaway is planning is both art and science. It's not something a science, it's an art. A person who can visualize, who can, like an artist, who can think and draw a picture. Encouragement is planner for frequent job site visits rather than work order processing beside the desk. If a planner doesn't know the job, who else would know the job? Try to understand this point. I'll be trying to make assumption. I'll be asking questions to the different people. The best thing is this: if you have a safety hat, put your safety shoes on, go and visit the job site and try to make sure you understand the job. Look at the history of the job. Try to understand the job before you plan the job. Develop standard job plan and accurate bill of materials, which is a component list. Keep them up to date along with equipment information. If your equipment gets replaced, then go ahead and update your equipment information also. Effective weekly scheduled meeting and audit. Self-assessment is the key part. As I told you, every exercise you do it, you have to do a self-assessment. I do not know how the audience will perceive this webinar. That's why we are requesting everyone to do a quick feedback, give us a feedback, what was the most interesting part, and how they would like to see us do future to address their needs. Use KPIs to find opportunities for improvement rather than manipulating the data. We don't want to play with the number or juggle with the number to look good. We really want to make sure our KPIs are realistic. Read books and articles to enhance knowledge about maintenance planning. And effective maintenance planner has a huge ROI, return of investment. It's investment. So if you want to convince your upper management, the business people, you want proper planning function in your organization. There is a reference book, Richard D. Palmer, Maintenance Planning and Scheduling book. I'm sure maybe a version is available on Google. You can go and browse it yourself, read the book. Last thing, the final word I would like to say, we are what we repeatedly do. We believe, we talked about the paradigm, and whatever our beliefs are the drivers of us doing things. If we believe, if we have some values, some ethics, then we really want to do the right things and not doing things right. And excellence is not an act, but an habit. Remember, guys, it's not an act. It's not something you do today. It's not the day's task. It's a habit. So if you really want to have a journey towards excellence, you really want to make a habit. Thank you very much listening to me, and all yours, Mr. Jawad.
Thank you very much, sir. We have a couple of questions before we can end this. We have a question. Can I read it for you?
Sure. Shoot your question.
Okay. Question number one is how to establish KPI and how to measure KPI.
Okay. How to establish the KPI? This is the first part. KPIs are based on a data. Do not have a data, then you are driving your car in the dark. And the data is recorded into your CMMS system. You must have a system. You must have, even your Excel spreadsheet would act like a system. You really want to have a start date, end date of a job. You really want to make sure that you have a cost capture, and you really want to make sure that someone has find out all the delays which are occurring on the job. So first thing, you really want to have a database to get that information and translate it into key performance indicators. Now you have to explore industry benchmarking. You really want to look at other industries, benchmarking, journey towards excellence then. For example, I just said it to you guys that the wrench time is, let's say, 65% is best in class. If your organization, you go back and look at your organization as a KPI, key performance indicator, and you guys are having, or industry in Pakistan, I don't know, I really don't have the experience in industry in Pakistan, but they are having 35 to 40%. So there's an opportunity to improve the right time. That's the KPI. There are lots of other KPIs depending which direction you really want to move it. Each discipline has got a KPI. Key performance indicator is something you really want to have as your headlights on your car. Really want to show you the road. Otherwise, you guys are, or any organization who doesn't have the KPIs is driving in the dark, Mr. Jawad, unfortunately.
That is great. Thank you very much. With this, we have another adjacent question from the same,
Please.
and they are saying, I think someone is.
Hello.
Okay, there was a participant. I don't know. I'm unable to mute him. Okay. Sorry, everyone, for that interruption.
आवाज आ रही है भाई?
We have another. Oh, yes, we all can hear you. The webinar is going on.
Please, अगर आपका question है, shoot your question, please.
How to find that KPI is working good and maintenance index is improving?
You have to have a benchmarking. You have to have a standard. You have to have industry standards, international standard. You may have a country-wide standards. You really want to make, you want to select a KPI, which is key performance indicator, and you want to know the optimal value of that one. You can do an industry standard in the worldwide, or you can have within your country or within your area of influence, and you really want to do a gap analysis against that benchmarking, because that gap analysis will tell you how far you are from your destiny. Things you should do differently in order to reach to your destiny.
Thank you.
It's like someone is writing something. I don't know. Jawad, we need to control. We need to keep a discipline. Someone is writing on the screen, which is making me a little upset. Like, you know, make sure that we have a ethic here. The participants do not write on the screen.
As per my control, there is no right given to any participant. I can see someone has wrote good. Let me see. Please, if someone is writing on a screen and has some right, I don't know, please stop doing that, because this is very professional webinar. So we have to focus on the questions. Thank you all.
That is a clear indication we are part of the developing country right now. We really want to get people. We will love to have more series of webinars trying to make sure everybody will respect that, and we'll go from there. Anyone else has any question? Please, it's your call.
Okay, right now we don't have any questions in the message window. So I can take it as there are no more questions. So we have participants from different groups of industries. And now we have, okay, we got a question here. Mr. Faisal,
Yeah, sure.
share your question. So that would be the last question of today's session.
Is the person can introduce him or herself, like, please?
Okay, I can unmute him. It is Mr. Faisal. Mr. Faisal, instead of typing, you can now talk. Okay.
Yeah, please, I can hear Faisal.
Okay, I can read the question on his behalf, which I can read here.
Sure.
He writes, Scott, now maintenance plan spans from reactive to semi-reactive and proactive maintenance. Please recommend some tools and techniques for decision making in going from reactive to proactive.
That's a very, very good question. Thank you for bringing up that question. I want to go back to that curve, P and F curve. We talked about potential failure and actual failure. Remember that?
Let's go.
So your decision would be on the behavior of your data from that equipment. And if you have collected the data, then that curve should be able to tell you if you want me to go back to the slide, like, I mean, if I can go back to easily to the slide, like, yeah, here it is. P and F interval. If you are maintaining asset here at a failure mode, which is equipment has functionally failed, then you are a very reactive culture. You're trying to fix things because equipment is almost going to break down here. But if you are having approach here, which is your condition-based maintenance, your proactive maintenance, then you really want to shift it from reactive to proactive maintenance. How long would it take? You look at the line, baseline, the timeline, you look at the to reach to that condition, what kind of condition monitoring you are doing it, what kind of preventive maintenance you are doing it, which can do you an early detection of the defect. Remember, nothing is designed forever. So you really want to act smartly and trying to pick up that interval. Normally, those intervals are described in the equipment manufacturer's manuals. But again, you can do some optimizations on those. For example, an equipment has to be inspected every 6 months, and you decided to inspect it every 8 months, you know, depending on your data, depending on your experience. But that is the interval you really want to apply to make sure you are not on the reactive mode. If you let things happen, then you're really creating some heroes, some maintenance heroes, some firefighters. People are going to run around, people are going to look for those opportunities to go and put the fire off, like, rather than fire marshals, they'll become firefighters. Yes, Jawad sir.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a great from your side. So we don't have any more further questions. Dear all participants, this was one of the first trial webinar. We are going to conduct a series of such webinars with Mr. Abdul Wahid Sheikh and other top industrial professionals. Mr. Sheikh has actually very kind to us. He has 30 years plus experience in leadership roles in Saudi Aramco, and he is also a proctor and member of SMRP, Society of Maintenance and Reliability Practitioners. I hope you all have enjoyed a lot in this presentation and have learned a lot. So if you have any further questions, you can ask me at any time. I'm sharing my email address. Most of you have it, but if you don't have it, you can actually share your queries on info at ircm.com.pk. And we are also updating the list of webinars on our website, that is www.ircm.com.pk/webinar. So you all are invited to join in the next series of webinars. Thank you very much. Anything from you, Mr. Wahid?
No, thank you very much, and thank you for listening to me. It was quite a lengthy one, but I hope people have enjoyed it. And don't forget to get their feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And in the end, thank you all participants for be here and joining us. Thank you. See you again.
See you. Thank you, Ji.